Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to all you astrology friends. Welcome back for another video with me, Veerle, Veerle, and let's have a look. Let's zoom in to the next eclipse. The next eclipse that is going to happen around and about the 2nd of October. And it's going to be an eclipse that we call a solar eclipse because the sun will be next to the moon around and about 10 degrees of Libra. So together with the south node, which will be nearly around 6 to 5 degrees of Libra. So what is this all about? Let's delve into this. And what is the flavor of that? To what kind of star cycle does this eclipse belong? And what is the theme of this eclipse? And then let's plot it in to your horoscope. I'm going to have a look at the 12 signs, and I'm almost, the 12 signs, but very quickly, of course, because that shows here the area of your life that you're going to feel this energy. So let's get started. It is an eclipse that belongs to, again, the Saros 8 South. So again, this is an eclipse. I already mentioned it, I think, in the monthly horoscopes of October. That is a lot about endings in itself. It's about separation, endings, and it's on the fixed star Vidya matrix, which is all about, they call it the Widowmaker, but it's very much about you could say, when you plot it into today, it is can be used as a mental concentration and a very good mental concentration towards Libra kind of things, which is beauty and relationships and so on. So, of course, we know that a new moon, which happens every month, and this month, right, it's the 2nd of October, it's a new moon in Libra. It's always about endings and new beginnings. So you could say indeed that double whammy there of endings and new beginnings for sure. Now, a lot of people think, oh my goodness, this is going to be about relationships. A lot of my relationships are going to end and so on and so on. Hold on and hold your horses, because you have to see the horoscope of that day. When the eclipse happens, what is going on? And especially, what is the ruler of that eclipse, which is in this case, the ruler of Libra is Venus. What is the ruler doing? And is that ruler in a good place? Now, it's been a long time that I've been doing these videos. And it's been one of the first times that when I'm talking about eclipses, that it is that the ruler of that eclipse is under such great, beautiful, easy peasy, peaceful circumstances. Let's have a look. So the ruler is Venus, and Venus around that time of the eclipse is in Scorpio. Yes, I hear you. I hear people say, oh, it's in its detriment. Venus in Scorpio is bad. No, it's not. It's not about bad and good. I have Venus in Scorpio. I don't think it's bad. It's intense, yes, and it's all or nothing. Yes, it's just a style. And it's an alternative style. When planets are in their detriment, it can be expressed, but it has to be done in an alternative way. So, you see here that this Venus in Scorpio is ruled by Mars, because Scorpio, the ancient ruler of Scorpio is Mars, and the modern ruler is Pluto. So you see what kind of theme we're having here, which is amazing. It's the theme of the south node is, if we have eclipses with the south node, it's again about letting go, letting that go. Don't do it anymore. So all the attitudes that we consider as negative, as toxic, around the sign of Libra, we have time now to shed off that skin. Because of the south node, because of the sun, the moon together there, shed off the old skin of the Libra attitude that is toxic. And then goes towards Venus in Scorpio, which is all about active Venus, right? It's all about action. It's all about the doing, and it's all about the going for it. And it's all, of course, Scorpio is magnetic. It's a feminine sign. So it's also about attracting, magnetism, the things towards you that you are it already, and then you attract it rather than you are chasing it. That's a bit what I'm trying to say here. Because the elevated energy of a Venus in Scorpio, they don't have to control. That's the lower vibe. They don't have to control what they want. Or Venus in Scorpio has deep feelings and intense feelings. But a higher evolved, you could say, Venus in Scorpio is, yes, they have intense desires, but they detach and they say, you know what? If God wants, or the universe or nature, if you like, doesn't want to give it to me, well, then it's best for everyone concerned. That's a very highly evolved Venus in Scorpio. And guess what happens? It gives it space. And then it's those people that you say with the Venus in Scorpio, oh my goodness, they kind of attract, they don't do anything. And it's falling in their lap, so to speak. So that is the vibe. And it's not just because this Venus in Scorpio, this Venus is getting two trines. So the ruler of the eclipse is, on the one hand, trining Mars in Cancer, another fellow water sign. And it's also trining Saturn in Pisces. So we're having what we called a grand trine. I can't do it with the microphone here, but you understand what I mean. We're having Mars trining Venus, and we're having Venus trining Saturn, and we're having Mars trining Saturn. Well, if that isn't stability, then I don't know what is. If that isn't, and it's in water, so this is on an emotional, deep emotional level, contentment. So always, if you're doing astrology, see astrology as the whole. Never, ever pick out just one thing. Because that's not the truth. The truth is the analyze, the synthesis of everything. And what we're seeing here, yes, there is endings. Yes, it's on Vidya Matrix. Yes, it's about endings, and new beginnings and whatnot. Yes. But again, Venus is in a good shape. It is a bit alternative. It will do it not in how it should be, right? With Venus in Libra or Venus in Taurus, which is balanced, which is easygoing and so on. No, it has to do it now in Scorpio. But it has so much help of Mars, which is the ruler of Scorpio, the ancient ruler, and of Saturn, which is over there in Pisces. So that means when Venus and Mars make a trine, this is about not only passion, but it's like the balance between the give and the take. So what is this eclipse all about? It's very simple. It's about restoring the balance. It's about restoring the balance. And it's about shedding of old skin that made the imbalance in the first place. And then do it in a different way and actively taking actions, because it's Venus in Scorpio. Actively sending out the vision, the vibes, and doing actions accordingly. So Venus trine Mars is fantastic. It's creative. It's inspiring. In water, it is super, super peaceful as well. It's deep because it's with intentions. It's with intimacy, because Venus in Scorpio craves intimacy. It wants intimacy. It wants to be seen, the whole picture, It's not, people think Venus in Scorpio, oh, it's all about sex. It's further than that. It's further than the physical. It's the body, the mind, and the soul. It's everything. It's about being vulnerable with a person. And it's about the truth of that. And it's reciprocated, right? Venus trining Mars. It's amazing. It's emotional and deep and intense and erotic and all that kind of stuff. And Saturn means that it's not just for a couple of days, it's for long term. Saturn kind of, in such a beautiful trine here, it solidifies. It makes it deep, and it's kind of the glue, you could say. So what an interesting trine, a beautiful, October is full of trines. You check out, if you haven't done already, the October horoscopes. But the eclipse, let's have a look for the 12 signs. Where is it? And of course, when I say shadow of skin of the Libra energy, every sign from Aries to Pisces has a dark side and a light side. It has the positive side and it has the negative side. So don't think when we're talking here about Libra and you're a Libra that everything is wrong with Libra. No, not at all. It's about every sign has its pitfall. And for Libra, the pitfall is certainly the people pleasing. So because they want validation outside of them, they are going to please so that you like them. So that is coming from not the best place. That's not with the best intentions. You just are who you are. And if people don't like you or don't want you or don't want to connect with you, it is what it is. There's so plenty of people. Don't take it personal, you could say. But of course, people are going to take it personal. But that's the whole trick and the whole art, to not do that and to say, hey, I'm going to focus on people who do want to give. And where there is that balance of the give and the take. Because the downside of Libra is that it gives too much. It's too much giving. It's too much... what is going on with you? And remember, the North Node is in Aries. We have to go still. Although it's the last eclipse in Libra, we have to go towards that Aries energy. Of course, not too extreme. Not say it's my way or the highway. Everything is about balance. Can't stress that enough. And so shedding of the skin, yes, is definitely about that people pleasing, not being real, a bit being hypocritic, or how did they say that? Saying yes when you mean no, all that kind of stuff. Done with it. It's the last call to do all that Libra stuff that is not good for anyone. It's not good for you because you want to say no and you say yes. It's not good for the other person either because it's not coming from truth and authenticity. And Venus in Scorpio is all about truth and authenticity. So let's delve into this and let's just focus on the 12 signs where this is happening and what area of life this is happening. Aries people, it's your relations. This is happening in the 7th house. So yes, you're getting a cleanup of relationships that no longer suit you, relationships that you think, no good, and relationship that you think like there's definitely an ending there. It depends on what your situation was before that. If you say like, I'm sitting in this relationship for a long time and it's been so bad over the years. Now this could be the end. Absolutely. But if you're saying, yeah, there's some attitudes of that other person, it could die. It could die out. That other person could really get into that kind of transformation. If you're not in a relationship, this could really, really mean that an old attitude of yours around relationship just dies. And because of that, you are attracting new people into your life, which is interesting for sure. Taurians, this is happening in your 6th house. You're having this eclipse in the 6th house. So what is dying for you there? What is stopping for you? It's the 6th house, which is your routines, your day-to-day work, the way that you do your routines, the way that you do your work, the way that you deal with your health. There's something that is shifting. There's something that maybe beauty routines, because it's in Libra, and the relationship, the connections with people that you work with as well, the 6th house. There could be an ending there. And there could be a new beginning, a new way of lifestyle. The old lifestyle might be not working for you anymore. In some kind of way, it's toxic for you. And you stop it. And you go towards maybe more relaxing, more taking time for yourself, that kind of thing. Geminis, this is in a fellow air sign. This is amazing for you because the 5th house is the house of love. It's the house of children. It's the house of your projects, and it's the house of your hobbies and the things that you love to do. So there's something that is ending there. So it could mean that, let's start with the children. If you do have children, that if they're going through a phase in their life that they're ending and a new beginning is starting for them. Or you're finishing up a project. You're finishing up something that has been your baby, so to speak, for a long time. It could also mean a toxic relationship, that a love connection, that you say no more. I see it now. I see the toxicity of it, and no more of it. And more towards that Aries energy, which is the 11th house, which is groups, which is associations, and so on. Very interesting indeed, because it's also when you are stopping old hobbies, it making maybe 3 of those old hobbies, it's making room for the real one, for the one that you really, really want. Cancerians, this is happening in your 4th house. If you've got planets at 10 degrees, 10 degrees of Cancer, you will feel it very strongly. Of course, this is a tension aspect with the sign of Libra, but this is the core energy of your chart. So this is at the deepest point of your horoscope. Now, literally, for some of you, this is moving. This is an ending and a new beginning of a new house. But this can also be an ending and a new beginning of a connection with a parent. So a new way of relating to parents, or a shift in their life that is significant. Or it is about some sort of a new emotional setup. So an old emotional setup, how you react to life, it's outdated. And I say goodbye to that. And in a new way, so that you are parenting yourself, that you are your own best parent. Leos, this is happening in your 3rd house. So there's a lot of shifts happening there in the 3rd house. The 3rd house is a house of what you think, communication, what you speak and how you speak. So that could be an attitude towards communication that is no longer suiting you, the way that you always communicated, maybe too much or too little, whatever it is, it's done. There is a good time now to shift and to start anew and do that in a new way. It can also mean a relationship, a connection with a sibling or a neighbor is shifting. I'm not saying that it's going to end, but it's definitely shifting. For better or for worse, it depends on your situation, of course. It can also mean that you're done with a study. That could mean that as well. You're done with a study and you're starting a new part in your life. Could also mean you're done with learning a certain skill. And you do the skill now, you practice it. It can also mean, if you have your own business, for instance, that you're done with an old website and you're creating a new one or a different one, or maybe no website, or another way of expressing in social media. That could be that as well. Virgos, this is in your 2nd house. This is the money house for you Virgos. Declutter, 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 declutter. I'm certainly, as a Virgo, doing this already, because these eclipses, we feel them already a couple of weeks happening before they actually happen. And it's the best thing to do, because the 2nd house is the house of our belongings. It's the house of our assets, from clothes to a car to pictures to books, to cutlery, to everything. So, and everything that is not beautiful for you anymore, because remember, this is Libra. So everything that is not beautiful for you anymore, everything that you don't use anymore, or do it with appreciation for the time that it has served you. Because this is going to make so much space for more money, attracting more stuff that you love and that you value, right? That is very beautiful for you. Maybe a nice piece of jewelry. If you just buy all your stuff, sell all your stuff, or maybe the other stuff you give away, whatever it is that you're doing, you are creating space for new stuff, right? Because if you're having a closet that is full, you can't just buy new clothes. Well, you can, but you can't put them somewhere. You see, that is very, very healing for the Virgo at this particular moment. It's also what you eat. So the 2nd house is stop eating sugar, for instance, or stop eating something that is no longer good for you, that is toxic, whatever it is for you. It's such a good time to do that, for sure. And also your attitude around self-worth. Stop with it when you're just, because Virgos tend to do that a lot, like they feel they're not good enough and they fall into the trap of the perfectionism and blah, 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 blah. With this eclipse in the 2nd house, stop that attitude. So make it more real. Own what you have, what you don't have, and how you express yourself, for sure. Librans, the 1st house, it's the introduction is for you. It's the 1st house is not just your physical appearance, it's your life path. So it's your work, it's the connections that you do. You're shifting totally, 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 especially if you have around 10 degrees. You really, really are shedding off old skin, but thank it for that period of time, right? So, for instance, I've seen it many, many times when people have in the south node, and so here with the sun and the moon, a solar eclipse in their first house. It's their old identity, their old way of how they relate with people and others is shifting. A typical example is becoming a mom, becoming a parent. It can also mean because of when it's, for instance, your sun sign in Libra, that you're shedding off a skin of how your identity was. Maybe you were always very clumsy, and now you're not going to do that anymore. You just say goodbye to the clumsiness, and you start being just more attentive towards cluttering or gathering stuff that is no useful for you. It's that kind of things. It's also relationships, because you are shifting so much old identity. Some people will arrive that are new and different, and others will not be able to follow you or not match you anymore. And that is okay. And that shows up very quickly when we shift so much internally. You can say to yourself that people pleasing part, sorry, but I'm stopping. Maybe you're entering a phase that your children are outside the home. They're all going out to study and they're no longer at home. And now you say, hey, I'm going to focus on my connection with my loved one, with my partner, with my romantic partner. North Node in the 7th house. It's so many things for the Libra. And but do make sure that you can do that last piece of decluttering around the self. That is luggage, that is baggage, that is toxic. Whatever it is, when it's your character, your persona, your appearance, you could really say to yourself, look, I'm going to do the hair short or long or whatever, extensions or whatever it is. You could really shift that as well. Scorpios, this is happening in your 12th house, which is the house of the unconscious, which is the house of karma, which is the house of where we reload the batteries, which is the house of the subconscious. So with this here, shedding off the old skin, what I've seen many, many times, it is especially when people have like things that annoy them, like addictions or the things that they do to escape reality. This eclipse helps, so to speak, or shows, well, it's not doing anything, but it shows, it's as above, so below, that you're ready to stop the cycle of a certain addiction or a certain way that you are escaping, which is in many ways an addiction, not always, but in many ways. So it's almost like a way that an old pattern that can even come from your ancestry, because the 12th house is karma. You're just saying goodbye to it, And Libra, it can have to do with the way that you relate to other people. That you're just saying, look, no more, and that pattern is done, and the cycle has ended, and this is it, it's reaching its end time. Sometimes people, they struggle so long for a certain addiction, and all of a sudden it shifts. Well, it's that kind of energy. So I hope for many of you, whatever you do to escape, that you can stop that, because that's the key of this eclipse in the 12th house. Sagittarians, the 11th house. This is nice. Nice. I mean, this is nice as a new start in that 11th house, because Libra is making a sextile to your energy. So it shouldn't be, for most of you, shouldn't be so negative at all, not at all. But yes, it can mean a decluttering of friends that are no longer serving you, for sure. This could mean one person or a group of people, an association. Maybe you're saying no Facebook anymore, or no Instagram anymore, or whatever it is. Or maybe that friend, I people please so much, I don't even know why I'm doing it anymore. I'm stopping it. And because you're stopping it, they don't reach out anymore. And that's it. That's the eclipse in the 11th house. And it's all for the better because eclipses are there. They are quite fated. So focus then on things that are important, on the friends that do matter. It could also mean an ending and a new beginning of a goal. Maybe you had a goal that wasn't realistic. Maybe you had a goal that you were trying to reach for so long and it is actually now outdated. We can have those goals like, yes, I want to have a beautiful car, and maybe that's not a bad goal at all, but just a good beautiful car, and then all of a sudden you're finding yourself in a situation that you say, is it that important? I want to spend my money on something else. Maybe you're going to buy new stuff that you need for your work, for instance, or maybe you're going to buy a house. And that's too expensive, and a house and a car, whatever it is. That could be an ending of a goal that you had in your life. It can be more symbolic, of course, that your goal was to be the best in this and that, and that you're now saying, I don't know if I still want that. I'm going to close that off. Capricorns, especially those who have planets around 10 degrees of Capricorn, you will feel this a lot. It's in your 10th house. It's at the top of your chart. The top of your chart. So for many of you, this is work. For many of you, they're going to be shifting in work, and especially a job that you thought was toxic around your boss, maybe, right? It's in Libra, it's connections there. Whatever it is a good time to end a job and to start a new one for sure. And but it's not for all of you, of course. So it can also be an attitude or around work, maybe an attitude around work that you always have to, when you work, you always have to take care of the clients or this or that or colleagues or even your boss, and you have to people please. Maybe you're just saying, no more. I'm going to do it different with more security, right? With that North Node in your 4th house, I feel more secure now. It can also mean a shift in the lives of your parents or one parent. It can also mean a shift in the way your social status, because it's ending a new beginning. So you could be from single to not single, from not single to single, from married to divorced, from having no kids to having kids, and so on. That is the social status. That is like a second descendant that people have. It could be that as well. But whatever it is, it's all about the security of the self and the feeling emotionally content. That is kind of very important for you still. Aquarians, this is a fellow air sign. So this is for you. You're one of the signs that have the most positive energy here. This is trining your energy. And this is happening in your 9th house. Of what I've seen many, many times is that people end a study and they get a diploma, or you're ending one part of a study and you're going to do a new one. That kind of a cycle that has ended. It could also mean, because the 9th house is the way that you believe things, your mindset, your belief system, that you're saying, my mindset. And typically around relationships, because it's in Libra, that you say, oh, no. I'm going to shift that mindset, which is something that people don't do often, because once you have a mindset, and in the first place, is it even yours? You could examine that. You could say, that mindset that I'm having, that I always have to work hard in relationship, I always have to chase, I always have to connect, and so on. Maybe no. Maybe I do more like, hey, 50-50. If they're not coming, I don't take it personal. It's just not my match. That's a different attitude, a different mindset, a different belief system. So it's a lot about your belief system. It can also mean that publishing, you ended editing a book, for instance, and you're now ready to publish. There's a finishing up here of that cycle. Beautiful. Pisceans, last but not least, your 8th house. So this is a deep ending, new beginning. This is deep transformative energy for you. And of course, with Saturn in your sign, you're having that beautiful trine of Mars and Venus. So for you, it's definitely an ending of the 8th house. On one level, it has to do with money. It has to do with investment. It has to do with money that you share with someone else or loans. In a good way, it could mean an ending of a loan, right? That it's reached the karmic cycle of, you name it, how many years, and it's done now. So, and that's the relief. On another level, this has to do with a shift in the income of your spouse, for instance. That could be the fact as well. On a deeper level, it's about, because this is the house of fear, imaginative fears, this is the house of the occult, the house of the metaphysical, that you have ended a study around that, and that you're finishing up that study. On another level, it could mean, of course, inheritances. It could mean death and rebirth. That is significant during that period of time. I hope more births than deaths, but anyway, it is a cycle, right? I don't want to scare you now and that you have to look, oh, there's someone gonna die here. But it is that ending cycle of, the death and the rebirth and the phases and the karmic ways of life. Now, I think for most of you, this is a deep shift of psychological insights. So, of how you operate, and especially the fear-based energy there, and to say goodbye to that. I hope a lot of you will have conquered that because of the fear and because of action taking around that fear and doing it anyway, that you kind of grow out of that fear. So many Pisceans will grow out of some fears, and that's a beautiful thing for sure, and very emotional, but very positive. Anyway, this is the video around the eclipses. What I forgot to say in the beginning, that I made a promotion, the last one for this year, a promotion of 88 euros for a 15-minute reading, and I'm focusing on this eclipse. Yes, I'm focusing on this eclipse. Where is it falling? Is it falling on an important axis or personal planets? What is going on there? And of course, I always look a little bit deeper than that. I don't want to just do 15 minutes on eclipse and that's it. I usually go a little bit broader, especially around the end of that reading. But you can, if the in-depth reading or the super fast reading is a bit too much for you, a bit too much, me reading for you 40 minutes is a lot. It's a lot. You can start out with that and see where it goes. Anyway, thank you so much for watching. I wish you all the best. Check out my link with the with my website, with the services that I do there, and have the best eclipse ever. Bye-bye.